Hello everybody and welcome to the second part of my collection of my PS1 games, and I'm going to do it alphabetically. So the first one is this game called Amerzone, and it's probably a game that some of you haven't heard of before because it's sort of not like any other game I have on PlayStation. It's sort of like a bit like a mouse, although I am using the PlayStation controller here, sort of click and collect sort of thing. So we'll start a new game. So it's probably something you haven't sort of seen on a PS1 game before. So I don't actually know, but it might have been that it was also on PC or started on PC, this game. But here we go. I've just turned up the game audio because I think it was a bit low, so hopefully it'll be alright for you. And it is quite a pixelated game, but it is quite an old game. If I remember correctly, I think this guy is a postman. I may be wrong though.
You're the journalist, aren't you? I gave him your letter the other day. He's probably read it. He received another letter this morning. I put it in his mailbox. It was a letter from the museum. Letters from the museum. They always mean trouble. Maybe you could take it to him. He has trouble moving around, you know. He's an old man. Well, you see what I mean. If you want my advice, you should see a doctor. Well, that's what I think.
Right, so here we go. This is the game, and it's quite different. You can't go that way. So you sort of click, and it sort of screenshots. So if we'll click X, we should move. Yes, hopefully. And there is lots of loading screens, but the basis of this game is, I believe, we're going towards a lighthouse. I haven't played this game in a lot of years, so I've got to try and remember. And there's this old professor or something. I think it's a professor. And he's trying to, or he was trying to, deliver an egg to the Amazon, I think. Some bird in it. Again, it's not exactly what I remember. If you click certain objects, you can interact with them. This is one of those, what you call it, get them at the seaside, telescope things. But we would try and go towards the lighthouse. And it will get less pixelated as we do get there, I hope. Right, I think that's a letter. And try to remember how we get in. Maybe we click one of the buttons. Ah, right. The letter. Let's click that. So I'll just read this. Sir, we have thoroughly examined your plans for a new expedition to the Amazon and regret to inform you that we're unable to follow up your request for a grant. First, your present economic situation does not permit us to finance such a risky exploration. Second, my colleague and I are of the opinion that unfortunately you still have not abandoned that empirical fallacy which formerly was at the root of your dispute between you and the museum. This vulnerable institution, is that vulnerable? Institution which I now have the honour of representing still recalls the bitter disappointment and mockery in the scientific world in consequence to the findings of your first expedition in 1936, which at the outset we were weak enough to support. Like my honourable predecessors did back then, I would like to warn you against the dangers of undertaking in which adventurous fanatics supplement strict scientific rigour. Okay. So obviously his expedition has not been granted. I've got to try and remember how to get into here. I was thinking that the door would open. Oh, there we go. Just click the handle. That's what you have to do on this game. Sometimes you have to sort of click But I think we can actually walk around. This is the actual lighthouse that he lives in. They call him Professor. I think you can walk around it. Yeah, and that's the top of the lighthouse, but we have to go in to go up that. So I know this game isn't quite as action-packed as some other PlayStation games that we'll cover. But obviously if you don't like this sort of game, you can obviously watch one of those videos once it gets uploaded. But now I think we'll be able to go into the lighthouse. There we go. Let's go in. Yeah, lots of loading screens on this game. Right. So this is, I think we go upstairs here, although there was, you probably, I don't know if you can see it, but there's an actual trap door down there. We go down there later if I can remember correctly. First we've got to go up the stairs. We go up these stairs. And this is where he lives. I suppose it'd be sort of his front room and kitchen and everything in one place. And I believe this pixelated person here is the man in question. I think we can talk to him. So I'll shut up and we'll listen to him.
You are the journalist, aren't you? Amerzone? 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 Too late for me. Too late. It's all over for me. I am no longer in good health, my friend. It's a pity, but what can I do? In any case, Amerzone, all that. No one ever believed me, so... After all those years, it's incredible. The egg. The egg. The egg. It's still alive. Alive. Yes. I had planned to take it back over there to Amerzone. My expedition was ready, had it all planned out down to the smallest detail. But now, it's all over. I have no strength left. I have no strength left. You must go for me. You must go. Take the egg back. Take the egg of the white birds back to Amerzone. I beg you, please.
So, there we go. He obviously has no strength left. He's a very old man. And he wants us to carry on his work, I suppose. Return the egg to the Amazon. But I think before any of that, although I don't know if he'll get to that part anyway in this episode, you can look around, like for instance look at this picture and other things like that, and collect evidence that you'll need for the expedition. There's something over here, if I remember correctly. Another letter. And I can't remember which button to press now to get into the bag. I think it's this. And we've got two letters now. Right, the first one, let's look at this one down here. Right, I'll read this one. So this is from 1998. So what did they say? Did they say in the first letter 1936? So it's a good 62 years later. So yeah, he'd definitely be an old man. My dear friend, it was with great joy, tingled with the disbelief that I received your letter after over 50 years of silence. Yeah, it's a long time. I must admit that I've been given up all hopes that our paths would ever cross again, and to be quite truthful, I even thought that you were no longer with us. For we are too old now, I fear, and deep down inside the joy of... Is there another page? Oh, sorry, I think the bottom of this, the recording's all fuzzy with pixelated, so I'm sorry if you can't read it all. Meeting you again is mingled with the fear of seeing you undertake such a risky expedition at your age, and that's true. My old friend Alexander and I believe that I share your feeling of guiltness towards this poor country of the Amazon. Okay. We have made many mistakes that only our youth may explain. Okay. Today, in the twilight of our years, we want to make right right our wrongs in order to obtain an earthly redemption from our fellow men and from ourselves, which is quite desultory compared with divine justice. Although this is quite human, I admit, but what folly to set off again at your age through the Amazonian forest and marshlands. You will fail on your way and leave your life over here. Yeah. What's more, the Amazon you once knew no longer exists, my dear old fellow. Things have changed here, like in the rest of the world, so that this guy must be living in the Amazon, I suppose. You speak to me of white birds, but I've come to believe that they no longer fly but in the heady fumes of intoxication of the few deserted Indians that were spared by the inexorable march towards progress. You may think I suppose. You may think that I am very bitter, Alexander, but if you saw the sad state that country is in now, as if it is called down by a curse. Should you persist, however, in your determination to return to the Amazon and stop over at our mission in Puebla, I don't know if I spell that, as you have planned it, note that you will not find the companion in the adventures of your youth, but poor toothless old men, who will nonetheless be delighted to receive you under his roof. Then, like two ghosts, we will go and sit on the river bank to watch the sunset on our lives. May God protect you. So as you can see, how do you go out of this? I think it's trying to leave this. Right, I'm now stuck and trying to leave this page. Pressing every button. One minute, I'll just pause the recording and work out how to leave this page. I've managed to find the way you go. You just go down to the bottom left hand corner and this little box appears, so hopefully that will leave the page. Wasn't quite as long as I thought I'd be there for ages working out, but it only took about a minute after I stopped recording. Right, so this last one. Hopefully it's not too long. I'm not very good at reading, as you probably tell. So this is September 1998. Dear Sir, I convey to you the heartiest greetings of President Alvacaz, who is ill and cannot possibly reply to your letter. Naturally, it is the heartfelt emotions that he remembers the adventures of you both shared during the 30s upon his return to his country. You understand, however, that the laws of our country have to be the same for everyone, and the bounds of friendship that you may have had with our supreme guide did not entitle you to preferential treatment. I therefore regret to inform you that I cannot process your application for a visa to the Amazon. So it's just all bad letters, it seems. It is our desire that our country cease to be a land of scientific expedition that might lead some credence in whatever forms the existence of those white birds. This Indian mythology, like all other similar to it, for that matter, contributes towards maintaining our native fellow citizens in a mindset that is incompatible with the forced marches that our country has undertaken towards progress and modernity. We trust that you understand our position, and thank you. So as you can see, he's just had nothing but bad news. He's probably waited too long to take up this second expedition to the Amazon. Well, it might not be a second, but this latest one. Oh, the music stopped. I'm pretty sure he's still alive, he's just sleeping there. But I think in this room there isn't much else, but we can go upstairs, up into this lighthouse. So I remember this looks like some sort of library, and we can interact with this camcorder like slideshow, I think it is. That's it, right. Let's press this button, I think. That's it, yeah. So there's a slide. Is there more? Oh yeah. Oh, it's just 2 slides. Okay, so we'll leave that. Right, I think we can just interact with this as well. Just turning it around, spin it around. Although I think we do have to look on this table. And this might... I can't remember. That might be the actual bird. Although it's a white bird, I suppose. But that's not the thing I wanted to click, actually. It was... Right, yeah, that's one of the bugs from the Amazon, I suppose. Very nice. It's actually this book in the middle. That's it, right. I think we can open this book, or take it. So, let's have a look back into our rucksack. Let's have a look at this book. So, oh, that's his name. So, Alexander Valen Bias? I can't remember. Journey to the Amazon. So, this is probably from his journey in 1936. There you go. So, he was born 1904, Paris. Doctor in, I can't read that. It's quite bad writing. So, oh, his journey was 1932 to 1934. Okay, let's have a look at these notes then. And again, I apologise at the bottom of the page, it goes all fuzzy here. Probably because it's such an old game. So, the Amazon goose. So again, it's not the bird we're after, but there you go, you can read that if you like. Pause the recording. And I guess that's his lighthouse. Or are those birds just the ones outside his lighthouse, I suppose? Is that David and Anastasia watch the geese fly off towards the Amazon? Oh, so they actually fly from here to the Amazon, okay. Next page. Ah, right, this is the actual way of getting yourself to the Amazon later in the game. It's like this machine that's both a plane and a boat and a submarine, I think, all in one. It's obviously his own invention. It's pretty cool. Oh, there's a whale that's destroyed a ship. Okay. And I'll just, yeah, if you want to pause here and read all this, that's fine. So it's just a diary of what he did. It seems like, yeah, the sperm whale we hit has caused serious damage to the craft. And there's some more stuff to read. I'll just be quiet now, just see how many more pages there are. Oh, that's the place. That was talking about in that letter, although I did say I'd shut up. And there we go, that's the end of that book. That took a bit longer than expected, so I'm sorry about the silence, but I thought you'd just like to pause and read those bits, but you can always skip if you want to. But I think that book basically entails the journey that we will be taking. Well, I won't be taking because I won't be doing a whole Let's Play, but if you played this game fully, that's the journey you'd be taking. All the way to, I think it's Volcano in the end, where you have to lay the egg and release the bird. Right, I think there's more in this room. I think we can climb up this ladder. Yep. And... oh no, we're not there yet, just on the floor. Climb up the ladder. That's it, and down here should be something of interest. Oh, more letters. Right, be this bottom one here at the bottom corner. Is this the same letter? I'll let you read this by yourself. I've done quite a bit of reading, so you can always pause and read it yourself. So I'll go to the next page. Oh, just... and there we go, that's the end of that letter. Going further in the game, it's not actually quite like this. It's more sort of puzzles. We have to click at different things to work. This sort of first part in the lighthouse is more just exploring the lighthouse itself to get as much information as you can before you go on the journey. I think we can go upstairs again. But is there much up here? Right. Let's look at this drawing board at first. And that's a better sort of example of the actual craft you'll be using if you do play this game to travel to the Amazon. You can see its different forms there. So it's also sort of a hovercraft, I suppose. Similar, well, not hovercraft, sort of a jet ski sort of thing. If we click here.
Y el pueblo de Amerzone están vivos. Entonces estoy el padre. Y como un buen padre, tenemos que salir esta nación de la miseria. Sempre viva la Amerzone, viva la libertad.
So yeah, that was interesting. I didn't get a word of that because I didn't understand it, but that might be the guy from the actual country that was his friend, the actual Amazon country, the Supreme Guide, or whatever it's called. I'm not sure. I think yes, we can go outside. Again, we can't do much at the minute. I believe there's something you could do with this bit when you actually get around to. You can actually get up to the lighthouse yourself, you can, but we won't go up there. When you get around to going in the actual vehicle craft to the Amazon. But before we end, I will just show you that trapdoor at the beginning, at the bottom. There might be other stuff in this room, but I can't remember actually anything else that you could interact with. There may be other letters or stuff. Right. And just check that I don't think there's anything else in this room. No. This is stuff on here, except for that picture. And here we are back on the floor. Oh, can we pick up the broom? Not sure. I think you need these things for certain things, but I can't remember. Oh no, it's that. A hammer. Okay. But I'll just show you down here. Down in the trapdoor. And down into the basement. Or the tunnels it's really actually. It's quite dark. That should actually turn on the lights if I remember, yeah. Okay, and as you can see it's a lovely place here. But if we go down this tunnel, keep going down this tunnel and go actually further down, deeper into the earth. And I think it's, yes, down this tunnel. It does actually lead somewhere, I promise. It's not just going to be an endless tunnel. Even more pixelated. And it's in this room, I think, I can't do it at the minute because I think you need some sort of drive. But it's this computer machine here. You put in a floppy disk or something. It might be this floppy disk and set a program up for the craft you'll be flying. Or driving, I suppose. And further down here is actually the way to it, but it's through a locked door. I need to unlock it, if I remember correctly. This, yeah, that's it. It won't open. So, there you go. I'll just go back up. This dripping noise is a bit annoying. Just go back up to the front entrance of the building. And then we'll end the episode there, but that's sort of giving you an idea of what this game is like. If you want to see what it's actually like when you go on the journey, there are a few videos on YouTube, or whole Let's Plays. I haven't found one where someone actually does commentary though. There might be some, but I've only found one and there was no commentary and it was just him playing it. But it does get a bit more interesting than this. It's not one of my most interesting games, I will admit that. And how do I get back up here? Oh, there we go. And I think that's right, we're at the entrance, yes. So that is the game Amerzone. I'm sure you can find it somewhere it's available on Amazon, or funny enough, on the Amazon website. Or anywhere very cheaply if you want a game that's slightly different from your normal PlayStation 1 game. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. I'll just have a check what that game will be. Oh, it's actually a disc with multiple games on it, so we might actually have several episodes for that. Actually, it's called Arcade Greatest Hits, the Atari Collection 2, so that's actually got quite a few fun little games on there. So I'll see you for that. So thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.